I never thought something as simple as a missed trash pickup could snowball into a $10,000 disaster, but let me tell you, that's exactly how my summer went sideways. All because our HOA president, Karen Piton, decided she'd had enough of me minding my own business. You ever have one of those days where you feel like you just stepped into an episode of some suburban soap opera? That was me sweating through a Tuesday in July, dragging my garbage bins to the curb like I always did, never once thinking this routine could become the opening act of an all-out war. By Tuesday night, nothing happened. No truck, no noise, just my bins cooking in the 90-degree sun. By Wednesday, the smell was brutal, rotting barbecue leftovers, dirty diapers from next door, even some old shrimp shells I'd meant to toss sooner, all coming together in a perfect storm of stink that made me gag every time I walked outside. Thursday, it was flies. So many flies, I'm talking plague level. My neighbor Gary actually knocked on my door handkerchief over his nose, apologizing for bothering me but saying his kids were starting to get sick. Man, I felt like the villain of the neighborhood. I called sanitation again, and this time the lady on the other end, she's confused, reading off her screen telling me, "Sir, your service was canceled last Monday." I nearly dropped the phone. I never canceled anything. She checks again. Request came in from a Karen Piton, president of the Maple Ridge HOA. That's when it hit me this wasn't a mistake. It was personal. All right, so here's some backstory. I'm Marcus Thompson, 5 years in Maple Ridge Estates. Nice enough place if you don't mind cookie-cutter houses, and an HOA that cares more about mailbox colors than actual community. I'm a software engineer. I keep my lawn neat. I stay out of trouble. Karen's been president for 3 years, and I swear she runs this HOA like she's angling for Dictator of the Year. She's the type to measure your grass with a ruler, no joke, and fine you if it's even a quarter-inch over. She once made the couple down the street pay $50 because their garden gnome wasn't facing the street. I kept my head down. Until last month. See, Karen wanted everyone to swap their mailboxes for these ridiculous stone things, $800 a pop. Not in our original bylaws, by the way, so I called a buddy who's a lawyer and confirmed she couldn't actually enforce it. I sent Karen a polite email basically saying thanks, but no thanks. She fires back in minutes, says my attitude is disappointing and that community standards require cooperation. I didn't reply. 2 days later, she shows up at my door in this blinding pink tracksuit, gripping a clipboard so hard her knuckles went white. "Your refusal is setting a dangerous precedent," she says, real dramatic. I just told her I'm following the rules we all signed, and she storms off pink in the face to match her outfit. Now fast forward. Trash, service canceled, stench apocalypse out front, and every neighbor ready to revolt. I called Karen. She picked up right away, almost like she was waiting for this call, and she sounded sweet as sugar, telling me the HOA made an executive decision, and maybe if I'd been more cooperative, I wouldn't be in this mess. When I demanded she fix it, she laughed flat out, told me trash pickup was a privilege, not a right. Then she hung up. That's when I knew this wasn't about garbage. This was about control. So I did what any stubborn software guy would do. I started documenting everything. Phone calls, emails, photos of the ever-growing trash mountain, time-stamped like a crime scene. I started asking around, had anyone else lost service? Nope. Not a single neighbor had missed a pickup. In fact, Tom Bradley, who's always out walking his dog, said the garbage truck driver told him he had to skip my house, even though he didn't know why, just following the route sheet. Here's where things started to turn. I filed a records request with the city every HOA-related service change in the last month. What I got back made my jaw hit the floor. There it was in black and white, an email from Karen's HOA account to the sanitation department saying I'd permanently relocated and didn't need service anymore. She'd forged the cancellation. And get this, she CC'd herself from her personal email. If you're going to be sneaky, maybe don't leave a digital paper trail, you know what I mean? Armed with all this, I sent everything, emails, photos, city notices, the whole sorry timeline to the city's public works and the state HOA board. 2 days later, a city investigator named Janet Rodriguez called me. Her voice was all business, telling me what I found could be criminal fraud, and she'd take it from here. Meanwhile, Karen's out here acting like she just won the neighborhood Olympics, bragging that I was learning a lesson about community standards, even sending out a newsletter with a photo of a garbage truck and a giant red X. But she had no idea Investigator Rodriguez was building a case that would blow her out of the water. Things moved fast after that. Within a week, Rodriguez interviewed the sanitation staff, checked phone logs, and confirmed I never authorized a thing. She found out Karen had a little history too. 3 other times she'd tried to mess with city services to punish people, though never this bad. 2 weeks later, I'm outside trimming my hedges and see a city car roll up to Karen's place. 2 officials in suits, manila envelope in hand, go to her door. I couldn't hear, but watching from across the street, I saw Karen's face go from smug to panicked to absolutely lost. She's gesturing, voice getting higher and shriller, but those officials just stand there cool as can be. They hand her the envelope and leave. Within an hour, the whole neighborhood knew. Karen's husband, Brad, was out in the driveway pacing phone glued to his ear, probably calling a lawyer. By that night, it's all over the neighborhood Facebook group. The city hit Karen with a $10,000 fine, $5,000 for fraud, $3,000 for interfering with services, $2,000 for admin penalties. Next HOA meeting, standing room only. Karen, usually front and center, looked like she was sinking into her chair. Residents lined up to let her have it. Mrs. Patterson said Karen tried to cut her water 2 years back over some flamingo statues, and the Andersons said Karen tried to pull their building permit for painting their shutters the wrong shade of blue. When it came time to vote on Karen's future as president, not a single person backed her up. 27-0, she was out, and I'll never forget the look on her face. Shock, then anger, then nothing but defeat. She muttered that we'd all regret it when the neighborhood descended into chaos, but someone in the back shot back, "Only chaos has been yours." She grabbed her stuff and rushed out, pink tracksuit flapping, trying not to cry. But it wasn't over yet. The next morning, word spread that Karen's real estate company put her on leave. Turns out folks were wondering if she'd pulled the same shady moves at work. The city announced possible criminal charges for falsifying documents. Brad was overheard at the grocery store saying their lawyer told them to brace for legal bills on top of the fine. I finally got my trash pickup back the day after Karen got the boot. The workers actually apologized, saying they had no clue the schedule had been changed. They hauled off 2 weeks' worth of garbage. I can't describe how good it felt seeing that last bag go. That weekend, I installed a new mailbox, not the ugly stone thing Karen wanted, but a custom black box with a little plaque that said clean, legal, untouchable. The last time I saw Karen was 3 weeks later at the store. She was writing a check, because her credit cards were maxed out from all the legal bills. She spotted me, froze, then abandoned her half-full cart and hurried out. I just watched her go, realizing that the worst punishment for her wasn't the money or the humiliation, it was losing the one thing she wanted most control. $10,000, her job, her title, her reputation gone because she just couldn't help herself. So here's my takeaway. Sometimes the only way to deal with a bully is to out-stubborn them and let the truth do the rest. Justice might move slow, but eventually it really does take out the trash. But hey, was I right to fight this all the way, or should I have just let it slide? Where's the line between community and control? Let me know what you think, because honestly, I bet every neighborhood has a Karen of their own.